Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, my virtual friends and fanatics. Welcome to the ODP. That is the Oddly Dodd podcast, your ultimate hangout for all things sports, hobby, hype, and the fan life that you live and breathe. That's right. My name is Jason, here with my twin brother, Josh.
Hey.
And every week, we're diving headfirst into the crazy world of sports and all things collectibles. We're going to have your jaw-dropping highlights of insane fan moments and fantasy league drama. And let's see some of those collectibles you've been dying to get your hands on. And let's not forget also all those odd things out there that you never knew you wanted until now. If it's got a crowd, a scoreboard, a collector's market, we're talking about it. Football, basketball, Pokemon, basketball, whatever it is that gets your adrenaline pumping, we are here for it, and we are here for you. Plus, we want to bring in some of the fan stories, hot takes, and some hobby hacks, and definitely a few wild debates along the way. Let's sprinkle some randomness in there, and as always, we want to keep it odd, because this is the ODP, where there is no such thing as too much passion. So get out your jersey, crack that drink, let's get this game day party started. Welcome to the ODP.
ODP. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good
How
morrow.
goes it?
It's been a day, man. It's been a day.
It has been, and we have been out. It's been a little bit since we've been able to record. I've been in travels all around, and here we are back to it.
Sightseeing,
We missed a lot this past week.
It's been a busy week, yeah. I know. There's been like the playoffs that's been going on. That's been really intense.
Very intense, actually. I think the last time we recorded, the Edmonton and Panthers were playing at it, and they're playing right now, aren't they?
They are currently playing right now.
What do we got for a score? Do you have any updates?
It was 2-0 last I looked.
The Panthers.
Never
mind. Seem to be pulling away with it.
It's now 3-0.
Oh, gosh. I tell you, the Panthers.
They got one more.
Oh, is this a back-to-back, I guess, for them, huh?
It's looking like it. However, you'd never count Edmonton out, just like the last time that we were talking. I mean, it went down to overtime again, and then they won. I mean, they put it in overtime in the last game, they put it in overtime over the last, it was like 17 seconds or something like that.
That's true. And right now, Oilers have, they've got to leave it all out there because if they lose this one, it's done.
Yeah, though this one's it. It's 3-2 on the series, so this one could be the final. Could be, but we still got one period left, and that's a lot of game. I mean, seriously, I can't. 3 scores is just, it's not going to be enough to count them out yet, because one period is a long time.
That's true. That's true. We were giving updates back to back last podcast, because I tell you what, they were scoring left and right.
It was exciting. I mean, we have that, and of course you got the NBA playoffs that, it's going back and forth. One will win, then the other will win, and we still got, what is it? It's Thursday. That's going to be the next game. But
that's right. That's right.
OKC has the lead right now. On that. I know, and we'll see if the Pacers can tie up the series.
That's right.
Is Halliburton the man? Is he the man?
I tell you, it's that time of year.
We'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. But
so where you been traveling to? Going to see like the sunken gardens of, what are you sightseeing? Bird watching?
I've been out in, let's see here. I've been to Atlanta, Denver, Colorado Springs, then to Chicago. I'm headed up to DC tomorrow. And then back up to Chicago. Yeah, all around.
If you go to DC, you got to hit the Smithsonian.
I love the Smithsonian.
There's like 7 about that museums.
Do you remember the first time we went there, how amazing it was?
Yeah.
Growing up, we didn't have like a crazy amount of money growing up, but I tell you, our parents did an amazing job of being creative with some of those trips. And that first trip to DC, I freaking fell in love with like all the dinosaurs, the old stuff in the Smithsonian. Dude, it was just, I was in amazement.
That's one of the Smithsonian museums is, of course,
right, natural life and science.
That's right. And then you walk in and you see that big T-Rex just standing there, and that was just captivating. As a kid, you're just like, what?
Right. Wow. It's just blown away. And by the way, I should add, do you remember that amazing yellow fanny pack I would rock hard?
You
I
still
love that
have it?
thing.
I thought you found it recently.
Man, I wish I could find that thing. It was my favorite. It was made of like this weird plastic material. I don't know. It was bright yellow. It was definitely my favorite fanny pack for things. You know, I had little things that knickknacks I had to put in there just in case I found something cool, right?
I
Always
mean,
collecting.
I had a fanny pack as well. And it's kind of funny you say fanny pack, but if you're in like UK, you can't say fanny pack because it means something totally different.
That's right.
But
So,
I had one for a brief period of time and lost it. But that trip was pretty amazing just because it got me into a lot of my likes, even currently. I
right,
mean, not just
right.
that, all the fossils and everything, but you go see the Hope Diamond, which was, I don't know, do you remember the Hope Diamond? Because it was shockingly smaller than I had built up in my head. Not that,
Right.
I mean, it's big, it's huge as a diamond,
Sure.
but I was expecting like this massive rock, you know?
Well, and I don't actually particularly remember that portion of it. I think I was
Okay.
just so in the zone with the ancient animals and all things that used to be living. I love that whole thing, that
Oh,
whole
that was always
tour.
fun. That was,
It
and
was.
then
It was.
I don't know if you knew this. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you did. But we went to the zoo also. And by the way,
Oh yeah.
anyone who hasn't been to DC, you got to check this stuff out. I mean,
Mhm.
all of them are free to go into because it's
Most
paid
of them.
for by,
There's some pay museums.
well,
The
of
Spy
course.
Museum, that's a really awesome museum.
Yeah.
Honestly, it does cost money, but boy, is it worth it. That's a fun
But
one.
like the zoo, you just walk in, walk out, whatever, right?
Mhm.
But you got to see it. One of the biggest zoos, and definitely in America. I think it's the second biggest to San Diego.
Next to San Diego, yeah.
But I got lost. That was the first time I was ever lost.
Oh, really?
You don't
Do
remember?
I
Like
forget
I
this?
don't.
I don't know how old we were. I can't remember exactly.
I was
We were young,
6, maybe. We were 6,
something like that.
7, something like that.
I
And I
think we had the
remember
gray Toyota van, right?
the rocket.
That thing was something.
So we were at the reptile area, and I was like, you remember when you first walked in, if you can remember this, they had the spiders that would not leave the cage. If once it made the web in that
Right,
area, it wouldn't
right.
leave that area.
Yeah, that certain spider, they didn't need to cage it.
That's
It was
right.
just open. The webbing was right there. Yeah,
And I
I
was
do remember
like
that.
so enthralled by it. I was just like, what?
Yeah,
And
and I was like,
Mom,
let's
Dad,
burn those.
you, Julie, Jenna, they all walked on and carried on throughout
Mhm.
the reptile area.
Yeah.
And I remember turning around and I didn't see anyone. And I was like,
Man.
man, I went outside the building, thought that y'all might have gone outside. And
Mhm.
then I looked around, I couldn't find anyone. I took off running, sprinting one way and just like looking around, looking around. And then I went to a certain distance and was like, okay, not this way. And then I turned back around and sprinted the other way and went, to a distance that I was like, okay, not there. And I went back in the building and then I started running through the building and then, okay, there they are.
Oh
So
yeah.
for about like 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, I was legit lost in panic.
I can't imagine that sunk feeling that you had
Oh
when
man, it was like,
the
they're
adults and
gone.
your people are gone. Man, I don't remember that, but that was your experience, not mine.
Right. No one remembers it because I fell in line. I was afraid that, mom and dad might get mad because
Right.
where'd you go? Run off to, don't ever run again, blah, blah, blah. Even
Yeah.
though I was just not paying attention and didn't turn around to see where y'all left. So I just
Right.
followed right in like I was always there. Like, okay, I'm here. Okay. So I'm just like,
No, I
okay.
don't remember that, but I
Mhm.
do remember a lot of the other stuff walking around the DC and all the different memorials and stuff. And it was really cool
Yeah.
just to see. And I'll be honest, remember this part though. You remember we went to the wall
Oh,
and
yeah.
the Vietnam Memorial and the
Hmm.
first time I ever saw Dad shed a tear. I can remember that.
Yeah, it was
That was pretty
impactful.
moving, which understandably so, you know.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
in which case we thank all of you military folks out there for all of your service.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
But Smithsonian's fun. Anyone who gets a chance to go to DC, really cool place. I
Yep.
mean, we pay for it for our taxes, so might as well go ahead and see it.
That's right. That's right. So I will be headed up there. Hopefully I have a little bit of time to carve away and see some of the stuff. I have a meeting during the day. Hopefully I'll be able to get away and sneak into one of those museums and at least, travel back through childhood and explore a little bit.
Yeah, definitely
But
go
yeah.
check out the art museums. Now, like, as far as collecting, we'll have to save this for another episode.
Mhm.
But
Good
as you
collectibles
know,
with art.
I have quite a few good pieces of art too.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
And
I'd love to see some of those. We should share some of those, but
we
for another
will.
time.
That's another time that we'll have to, because art collecting is an art. So it is. And there's different ways that you can come across some really good stuff. And any of you art collectors who like print, you like lithographs, you like any type of medium that you may be drawn to, by all means, we'll cover that in upcoming episodes, because I do really geek out over that stuff too. So
Absolutely. I love some art.
did
And you've been pretty busy here lately too, haven't you? I hear that are you coaching?
Oh yeah, I am
Oh, that's
coaching
awesome.
Franklinton High School Rams.
Okay.
Funny that I was a Ram in high school. We were Rams
Wow,
in high
full
school,
circle, huh?
and now my boys
Yeah.
are going to be Rams. It's kind
Look
of
out
cool, right?
now. Okay. So
But it
Afton's
is the
getting ready
Red
for
Ram.
some high school football.
It is, man. We're getting ready. I'm the receivers coach out there, and
Okay.
we got a good squad, man. It's so exciting to see these kids, and even in collecting everything, right? This is like this is the infant stages of where they develop. You can see these kids like in our immediate area. Some of the people that came out of there, like Braxton Berrios. He's from the area, not from Franklinton, but you see these kids develop, and you can see glimpses of this talent, the raw, early talent, and you're like, that kid's gonna do something, and you can
Yeah, I
see
love it.
these bits,
I
right?
love it.
So
Yeah.
it's super exciting, and be able to help with developing that talent.
Oh
Man,
yeah.
there's nothing better. So
I agree. I agree. And I helped coach the past 2 years for
yes, you
wrestling over
did.
at Seaforth High School.
Yeah,
And
you got
what
2
an
rings to prove
experience
it.
that was. I got to tell you, one of my neighbors, we were just chatting, and then I mentioned, yeah, I'd be interested in helping out. And boy, if Coach Armstrong didn't just jump right on that and be like, all right, you're it. And then I'm so grateful for that opportunity, because honestly, it was amazing.
Yeah.
To where I helped shape these young kids and just be part of an amazing squad, because we went to two state individuals
Yeah, you did.
champions, two back-to-back state champions for individuals, and man, those kids just are impressive.
Well,
So I'm excited to see what they do now that we have a lot of the seniors graduating. We still have a few just absolute studs left, and really just excited to see what they can do.
well, it's exciting. See them early on. You got 2 rings to prove it. That's pretty
I know.
awesome. And
It is pretty impressive.
and
But
it's fun.
I also helped coach a little bit. I was a little strung thin with football. I was out there with the kids, and just to see that as well was really nice. And just to be help these young kids develop, and to see this talent at such a young age. But the landscape seems to be changing. A lot of these kids are focused on the namesakes, the NIL stuff,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Now we speak of trading and collecting. What's your take on NIL? What do you think about it?
I mean, it's a game changer. It's harder to follow the players. So it's really it's becoming more. It is. It's like just like NFL now. So now you got to track the players and everything. It's really hard. I mean, I'm a Longhorn fan and a UVA fan. Brandy being from Texas, hook 'em horns, and being from Virginia, UVA, right? Like,
Right?
those are the 2 teams that I really
Go
follow.
Tech. Virginia Tech, baby. Go Hokies.
Whatever. Anyway, so I'll go for the Cavs. Anyway, but it's hard to follow. Like, you got all these transfers and everything. And now also, it's almost like it seems like they're playing for the wrong reasons at times. Like
They absolutely are.
DJ Ukulele, who was awesome in Oregon, but, he really, really dinked out down in Florida State. And he took the payday, and he's going these places. And then but then again, you have people who are kind of looking for the long term and kind of understand, like, Quinn Ewers, Texas Longhorn, turned down $8 million to go ahead and go into the draft. But it's harder to follow. And even all the divisions are kind of breaking up. Like, it's kind of crazy. The Pac-12 only has 2 teams in it, in that division. It doesn't make any sense. It's just, there's 18 teams in the Big Ten. It just, it's getting kind of crazy. It's all money based, but it has, I believe, elevated the level of play. Now that they are investing so much money in players now, they are expecting a higher output that is causing them to start younger. And it's creating this kind of like this shift of play where they're really focusing in now on high school. How used to scouts were, they come here and there, but they're starting earlier. There's coming earlier. There's different programs to develop. It's really getting intense out there. And the degree of, I guess, the degree of athleticism has increased as well. Because, I mean, I just see it on the field even now. So,
yeah. Well,
it makes it
I will
exciting.
say that, like, it might raise the level of competition in that realm, but I can tell you from what I'm seeing from a coaching standpoint is it is creating a very tough landscape for coaching. I feel like a lot of this NIL stuff is really creating these individual players, which, yeah, talent. But boy, if it's not convoluting like the actual coaching ability and the challenges there of you're coaching a player that's already, coming in with millions of dollars to these colleges. I mean,
puts the pressure
challenging.
on. It's putting so much pressure on these young kids and these young minds that it's really hard for them to internalize. We still don't know the full effect until, a little bit later. I think we'll start to see. You have all this CTI stuff with NFL players who, unfortunately decide to take their own lives or, do something crazy because of all these head injuries. We don't notice that until time goes by. And so we don't know the impact fully yet on the CTE, sorry. So, but we don't know the full psyche setback yet until, unfortunately down the road, what happens when they blow out that ACL or something happens and it ends their career early and they had their hopes set on it. And sometimes your mental capacity can't accept that, even though you have the full life to live. And, it puts a lot of pressure on that. Could be devastating. I hope they have a good support system in place just to help with that.
Right. Well, I could say that, on one hand, I think for years I was behind the, kids should get something.
Yeah,
Right. Because it
absolutely.
was so strict. If you went into college playing ball of any sort or playing a sport, you were committed, especially if you got a scholarship.
Yeah,
That's what
was
you were playing
one.
for in high school. You were looking for a scholarship if you wanted to take that to the next level.
That was just one
You
thing.
take it to the next level, that's your job. You're there in your school and that's it. You don't have time for getting an actual job, right? Where some of these kids, they need the assistance. They're coming from places they don't have the money. And it used to be where even if you bought a dinner for a kid, you'd get fined, right?
Well,
it was not acceptable.
In all fairness, the kickbacks have been coming for years.
Right.
And it has
Very
been
true
underlying.
in different ways. And they,
I mean, look at Miami. They got hit with the death sentence, once they found, but let's be honest, like, Baylor was under, scrutiny. You have all these different big colleges, it's on the back end and under the table kind of deals of, hey, just use this Escalade. Just use
they're
my
always
boat.
figuring out a way to go around it. And that's for sure. But it was a little too tight. Like, there has to be a happy in between, but instead they let loose the Wild West. And unfortunately, some of these kids can get taken advantage of.
Oh, yeah.
Much like the young kids going into the pros, they get taken advantage of as well. So it's very easy. I just wish there was an education that went with a lot of this stuff in high school at younger years. They really need to start introducing some of the, if in school you have the sports management and stuff like that, but I really think in high school they really need to start focusing on some of that stuff with financial, like with athletic financials or what have you. If that's your direction, like, start these paths earlier, and to help these kids understand like what predatory lending is, and stuff like that.
I will say they have started implementing this, like at our high school and stuff like that. Now that we're in the biggest division in the state, as far as school size is concerned, we're going to get a lot more looks for the scouts and everything. The kids are getting, we're going to have more kids, more talent. It's just it's a bigger pool. So we had to implement a lot of stuff, and the new coach is really focusing on that next level for a lot of the upperclassmen. So I do believe a lot of high schools, especially great programs, are implementing certain educational programs and processes that have those resources for those kids to rely on. So I think there is a degree that is being rolled out for a really good program. So you just, parents, just make sure you question a lot. That's
absolutely.
That's all.
And
Question everything.
Kids that are doing it on their own, sometimes the parents are too busy or whatever background there is. Make sure you're educating yourself, do your reading, A little bit of reading up on the law. You know, when you turn 18, you're able to sign contracts legally.
Yep.
And those are binding.
Yep.
So know what you're getting into when you put ink on paper. You know, that's definitely worth reading. Don't ever take anyone's word for it.
Yep.
So I hate to see some of these young kids get strapped to these contracts and then end up, you know, underwater before they even start to get strides.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of resources, and I'll tell you this right now, Afton has already got people reaching out to start these programs and everything, already started talking about wrestling scholarships and football scholarships and these different programs that have popped up that weren't available when we were there, you know, weren't relevant, but they are now, where it has this whole package of management, of money management, of athletic management, all kinds of different things, different coach, like for conditioning coaches and different dietary coaches, all these different things that come with this package deals now with a lot of different companies that are popping up for the parents to sign in early, where they get a cut of these, you know, college payouts and stuff like that. So there's definitely programs that are popping up that are becoming available. It's a money market. Let's be honest here. You know, these colleges were paid tons of money when they go to these bowls for advertising and everything. Why shouldn't the kids get a cut of this? Their likeness is being used in games or commercials and stuff like that. So why not? It is, see the fairness in it. It just,
I do. I just hope that there's, like I said, I hope there's a little bit more regulation in there, not the Wild West for these younger kids. It's too easy to take advantage of, and it's too easy to create these little siloed players that end up, you know, going off to college, and it's just all about them. They're going to be there for a year and then transfer the next year because this team doesn't do much with tight ends, but this team over here does more focus on tight ends. And I get it. They're developing themselves to make them marketable to the NFL, and I do understand it.
Yep.
I can only imagine that's just a challenge when it comes to coaching.
Yeah. Let me tell you, I mean, keeping the team as a team, that is a tough one, but we have definitely been implementing that from the start. So I can't wait to see. And we'll update you throughout the season how the Red Rams are doing, because it's going to be a good season.
You know, I could break out some of the old Ram stuff that I think I have somewhere stuffed away, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah.
I love it. I'll be wearing it proud.
Cool, man.
For sure.
Well,
yeah,
I got to tell you.
Yeah.
We had some homework to do.
We did have some homework to do.
Okay.
And we should just go right into the What's in the Box series. What's in the box?
What's in a box?
Because I think I challenge you, find some odd things, because we've been talking about cards, you know, Magic. There's some updates with Magic.
There are some updates,
and since Final Fantasy has dropped, it has kind of planed out a little bit. We're seeing what cards are actually strong, what aren't strong, and the market will dictate that. The Chocobo bird has come down a little bit, right?
Now the traveling Chocobo is definitely now. You can only pre-order, you could have only pre-ordered the neon pink and the neon green. However, there is now the neon yellow and the neon blue that is for sale, which is just like, if you remember, Kamigawa, because they had
that's right
at the top neon
green,
neon blue, neon pink. So they did the same exact thing, had the top four, and then the Japanese version of the traveling Chocobo of the black, which is on the top end of the spectrum, even though the Japanese collector's box is cheaper by a few $100s cheaper than the collector's box of the standard US version.
Right.
That black Chocobo is at the top. So
I mean, $6,000.
$6,000. Some of them are going for $7,000. I think there's somewhere around 4 or 5 listings currently.
Only 4.
Only 4.
Okay,
there we go.
Now.
Only 4, and it's insane. Good luck finding them. Good luck.
I mean, shoot, 4 listings, and let me tell you, the 4 listings we have 6,000, 7,000, 9,900, and 20,000.
Youch.
What?
Yeah,
that's insane. Oh, that's a fun bird.
It is a fun bird, the traveling Chocobo.
Yeah, how cool would that be with the Japanese version of the collector's edition? If you were to crack one of those, man, that would be so sick.
That would be.
That would be so awesome.
I personally just want the neon green one. Green's my color anyway. But
I know it, and I want the yellow one. And it's not. It's worth the worst. It is worth the least amount from all of those.
Yeah,
but that's okay. I would still take the yellow.
I want the pink too. I like pink. Pink is awesome.
Yeah, he's pretty fun.
Anyway, but
Yeah,
We'll
no.
talk
So
about a
Magic,
few of
we've
those
got some things
cards.
coming out, and I'll be honest. I want to just get a starter deck with it and just put something together and play.
I think the starter bundle is like $500.
That's the collector bundle.
Okay.
The starter bundle is about 150.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the starter bundle is right there.
Well, I'll teach you how to play. Don't worry. We can learn.
Teach me how to play, huh?
Yeah, I'm a lot better than you.
All right, all right. Well, I challenge you to a duel, sir. We'll see what outcome might happen there.
Yeah.
We'll put up the record.
We'll jump back into the Magic the Gathering because I do want to update on some of those cards and some of those prices.
Yeah.
But what's in the box?
What's in the box?
Because I want to know what's in your box.
What's in my box? Well, let me tell you. I had to do some digging here.
Okay.
And it comes with a story.
Let's hear it.
All right. So, you know how we have our cousins up in West Virginia, and every summer we used to, like, the girls would come down to Williamsburg, and you and me, we'd go up.
Yeah, we'd stay
with Brandon and Brett up there.
Yep.
And do
country
whatever,
shit.
Play around in the woods. Got into trouble, burned a barn down almost. Remember when we caught that darn rail car on fire?
Yeah, and then we camp out all the time, and it got so cold that one time that we were camping out. And then the dog got sprayed with a skunk and slept on top of us.
Right. Well, hell, I wasn't letting go of that thing because it was frigid.
It was freezing. That's right. And so just to stay warm, that dog slept on all of us, and we
and we stunk.
Anyway,
that's right.
Yeah.
It was in that rail car that was just out in the middle of the field,
Yep,
right?
Yep. That's right.
And they had the other rail car, the old wooden rail car that was in the woods. It was a little tucked away. That was the one we accidentally caught on fire.
I don't really remember that.
We had that jar of gasoline.
Oh, yes.
Stupid.
Yes.
Stupid. Don't play with fire, kids.
Don't play with fire.
Please. Such a stupid idea.
It's really fun.
We didn't burn much down.
We did not.
But
no.
It was scary. Anywho, so we'd go up there from time to time. You remember we went over to Nan's house and we were walking through her woods and we came upon this huge pile of garbage. This is rubbish. Just back then, people just would dispose of cars and stuff in the woods, right?
They'd
have
Nan's?
big dump. Huh?
White Nan's?
Black Nan's.
Go ahead now.
It was over Black Nan's.
We
went over there. We went to cut the grass and then we walked in.
Yeah, I do remember that. By the way, we say White Nan and Black Nan because of their hair color, by the way.
Hair color. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Be more specific.
Sorry.
But so we went out into the back of the woods there, and remember we came upon that big old trash heap. You don't remember it, do you?
I don't.
I know. I was out there because I was like, "Whoa, look at all this fun
with
stuff!"
all the Mountain Dew bottles, it'll tickle your innards, and
it tickles your innards.
That's right.
And so what we came across, was some bottles. Right here, we have an old classic Coca-Cola bottle. Right. And so this Coke bottle, it's printed on there, right? So this is from the 1950s.
Wow.
It's called ACL when it had the print on the bottle. All right. Before that, they were embossed in there instead of painted, right?
Yeah,
so
it was
the
the
older
mold.
bottles from like 1905 through the 20s, they were all embossed on that. And so the thick Coke bottles, and you have the writing of where they were manufactured on the bottom.
Right.
The bigger the letter, the newer the bottle. But these were some old bottles. I just hung on to them. So this is a bottle from the 1950s. They're a Coke bottle. Not much. I mean, this thing's probably a $5 bottle. Nothing big there. But then we have those embossed bottles. They're called Hutchinson bottles, right? And so here's that old Pepsi.
Oh my gosh.
Hutchinson bottle.
I can't believe you still have that
Pepsi
stuff.
Cola. How cool is that?
Wow.
Yep. I kept that guy. The no refill, purpose of reuse. See smaller letters on the bottom there.
We broke so many
this
of those
is
bottles.
also just a 90s bottle, not real popular. And then we got the ACL bottles in the 60s here from the Spiral Pepsi.
Okay.
Yep. This is in the 50s, 60s. I can't really remember.
Return for deposit.
I know. And so here's the other thing too. If you collect Pepsi bottles, so you see the little single dot between the Pepsi Cola?
Yeah.
If you get a 2-dot Pepsi Cola, those are worth quite a bit. We're talking like $500 to $700.
Really? What was it, a misprint?
Nope. They switched to a double dot, and when they did the double dot, it was worth way more. They didn't do as many of them because they went right back to single dot.
No way.
But those were worth way more. And then we can't go without a classic, good old Budweiser.
That's a wow.
Check that guy out, right? Good old bottle of brew.
Wow.
That one was classic, which we have to thank Anheuser-Busch for bottles. Did you know this one? It's because of Anheuser-Busch that we have not only bottles to drink out of, but also refrigerated train cars.
Yeah, I knew that one because they needed to know how to transport it and keep it fresh.
Keep it fresh. They wanted to go further, so they created train cars that had refrigeration.
That's right. I remember.
They created bottles because as they were shipping the barrels, they wouldn't know whether or not it get watered down and whether or not was their brew, and they wanted every beer to taste the same.
That's right.
And so therefore they bottled it. So thank you, Anheuser, for the bottles that we have today. That is now creating a crisis of trash.
Yeah, because
hopefully we recycle those.
I believe glass bottles.
But yeah, Anheuser-Busch there.
Glass bottles are really
some cool stuff too, right?
They're the only ones. The glass bottles. I was going to say glass bottles are like the only thing that
they're recyclable, better than plastic.
They recycle, but they're the only product or one of the few products that don't decompose. One of our many used items that do not decompose.
They don't.
And what is that? That's just a collectible Coca-Cola.
This is just old. He's Dale Jarrett back when he was doing some good things, right? So I don't know why I kept this, but I figured I'd keep it.
Big Dale Jarrett
Probably
fan,
worth more if you had the top on it. But that being said, Bike Week 2005 Daytona Bike Week. Back when I had the Harley to go down there to the Bike Week first event there, and that was quite an event. So I decided to keep this in
how does it
memory
taste?
Of that.
I wonder.
I am afraid to open and taste that thing.
I
wonder. I bet I wonder what it would taste like.
How long does it keep for?
Flat as can be.
Oh, dude, no, it can't be. I bet you it has some.
You don't think so?
I don't know. Hell,
I don't know. I'd be scared to kind of open that up and taste it.
All right, I tell you what. I tell you what. If we get enough likes on this video, then you drink it on the next podcast. I say, all right, what's the number? We got to get 100 likes. Let's get 100 likes.
I'd say at least 100 likes for me to drink that sucker.
Okay, 100 likes.
At least
send
100.
it to your friends.
I don't know. It's from 2005. Week.
Oh, absolutely. We got to drink that. Definitely.
100 likes. 100 likes. When it hits 100, I'll make sure we know.
All right.
Hopefully, I don't have to.
Got to get 100 likes in 1 week though, because we'll give it 2 weeks. 2 weeks, 100 likes. He's drinking that.
2 weeks, 100 likes. We'll see if we can reach that. Right?
Yeah, I like it.
But that's my little collection of bottles, and I don't know why I held on to them. I just have them just hanging around. But turns out that I looked into that stuff, and a lot of the old Coke bottles, Pepsi bottles, Sprite bottles, and then you had even the older bottles than that kept prescription drugs in,
the old apothecary bottles.
That's right, and those bottles are worth something else. So there's a whole bottle training network out there, and they have bottle shows. Yeah, you talk about odd. I mean, people get into their bottle trading because it's just unique stuff, and some of that really old stuff is pretty cool.
I know you can't keep it bottled up.
But
anyway,
all right.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty cool.
That's what's in my box. What do you got in your box there? What's in the box?
So
what's in the box?
What's in the box? So as you see, shark's teeth have always been a thing for me anyway. I love sharks.
Yeah, and me.
Love the ocean.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep. Love having a piece of it with me. But just like the Smithsonian, when I became just captivated by Sue, which was the T-Rex that was in the main foyer there when you walk in, if you didn't know. I like fossils, and I like anything that's relating towards teeth. And here, so I have old ancient teeth from either these are old Makos, so these aren't that old, and those aren't that impressive, but this one is, which is one of my favorites.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So, look at that guy. Is that a meg tooth?
This is a megalodon, and it's about 150 million years old. And yeah, look at the size of this bad boy. Dude, if this thing chomps on you, holy crap. And this is just one, and they'd have hundreds of teeth in their mouth. This is just one. And so right here, it had to get one, right? Just had to.
Wow.
So I also, there's some broken ones you can find them. This one's off actually the coast of North Carolina. So a lot of the meg teeth are, obviously the Atlantic Ocean is right there, right? And it's on the coast. So.
Right.
But
meg teeth are found also upstream in the rivers. which is where I found a couple. And you can go digging in. Well, actually, let me take that back. You're not actually supposed to go diving for them. Too many people were going through the rivers and trying to pick them out, which caused a little bit of a disruption. But out by the coast and out by the coastal area of Carolinas, you can find a lot of shark teeth in general. But the fossilized ones and the megs and the older ones are a little bit harder to go by and find unless you go up the rivers a little bit into the brackish water, and you have to go scuba diving in some of those areas. And if you just kick up a clump of the clay, they're in packs of the thick clay, and you can kick them things up. They're not that deep, and lots of people go diving in there and find that stuff.
They're mostly, I'd say, and you'd have to correct, I'd have to data or fact check this, but a good majority of the megalodon teeth are found off of the coast of South and North Carolina. Now, I don't know why that is, but obviously you're going to see portions of dinosaurs and all these fossils in certain regions, like the once was the Brontosaurus. There's no such thing as the actual Brontosaurus now. It is the Ep8. So the Ep8 is, and they're found in the Americas, but South America and stuff like that you can find these certain ones. But you'll see stuff in the North Americas, and then you'll find them over in like the mammoths and things like that, and certain saber-toothed tigers you'll find in the Asias, and certain continents carry, and these are herded animals, so naturally you're going to find deposits in certain regions. Once Pangea was around and everything, they still herded. So, or were herd animals, or a lot of them were. The meg, not so much a herd animal. It's very commonly like the great white and didn't so much herd. But these meg teeth are, like I said, often found, and I think it's due to the sediment maybe, and like the type of erosion that kind of correlates with it.
Deposits and contains a lot of the shark teeth there, which mostly the megalodon teeth.
Yeah. And so it really, really kind of got me involved into like even looking, like the teeth were the first part, but I don't know if you remember way back in the day when we used to take field trips to like the York River, to the national, or not the national, but the natural science places off the York River when I was in fourth grade. And I don't have it, and I couldn't find it. I was trying to find it, but I had found on the beach there a little piece of a bone that had been petrified already. So it had to have been many, many years old. It's just a little chunk. It's just a piece about this big. It's a joint. It's clearly a joint and some type of bone. Don't know what it's from, but that kind of got me into it and looking for them, even though you can't, it's really hard to find them. There are natural places where you can go to quarries that will allow you to dig for them yourself. And if you don't want to dig for them yourself and you would like to buy them, there are really good places and reputable places, because fossils are very easy to counterfeit and sell to you until you get it checked by a real scientist or a paleontologist.
I don't know where you do the dating on that. I guess you could take it to your local
paleontologist
university. I don't know. I'm sure there's some resources out there. I'd have to look and see. But
there are. You can
life science, like I know at Coastal Carolina, they have different science labs there that they do testing.
Universities are great for that. I'm sure there's different resources to send them out and everything to get them carbonated and checked and everything like that. However, a reputable company like Fossil Era, where it's a nice place to shop for it, or, in a lot of these gem and fossil stores that you'll find at like malls or standalone stores, I'd hope they'd be absolutely reputable as they're portraying. But those places, they can get up there if you don't want to do the work yourself. But if you do the work yourself, it could be super, super rewarding.
Oh yeah. It's really cool. I have a friend that's down in the Charlotte area. He actually goes down to the South Carolina riverbeds there, where there's some famous formations. Like you mentioned, South Carolina and North Carolina actually has more of the deposits of those ice age type mammals and animals and different things, from the whales and the different sharks too, the megalodon sharks. More so than Florida. It's if he were to lay out from end to end and side by side, he has enough shark teeth with sizable amount that would cover a full queen size bed. It's amazing.
Jeez.
Some of them are 6 inches long. It's insane.
Well, you can always go to these places to find like Wyoming, Montana. Those are areas that you can really find some like cool T-Rex stuff. That's where you're going to find some good T-Rex stuff. And
well, back there, over there in the Midwest area, or like Wisconsin, you had what is it? The Wisconsin glaciation from like I can't remember what time frame that was, but they had some more of the creatures of the land mammals and stuff like that, or not mammals, but the land dinosaurs that were there at that time.
They were reptiles.
Yes. Well, not all of them. They have some of the sloths and some of the actual mammals,
Whatever.
the Ice Age mammals, because there were sloths back then in the Ice Age.
Yeah, they were the giant sloth, right? And so
the sloth.
they were giant sloths.
And the saber-toothed tiger.
And the saber-toothed tiger. Say. And that's where you can find some really cool places, though, but a lot of the other places, you might not be able to go to Morocco to find like the Spinosaurus stuff or ammonites or trilobites or something like that. So you might have to order some stuff. So some really cool old school fossils, like you can even get them, and it pairs well with the gems. Like, when we were talking to Mom about like finding stones and stuff. But no, like gems and geodes, maybe, into not just, how pretty they are or the energies that many believe that they bring, but maybe they're just pretty, and they're fun to collect.
I can remember we went out to Steamboat this year, and they have this awesome little shop downtown, and they have all kinds of random stuff. And part of what they have in there are collectibles, or not collectibles, they are fossils. And like old fossils. I mean, more than the 50 million years ago fossils that they have uncovered, and they've turned them into art pieces. Some of them art pieces, some of them are just mounted, but really cool just to walk in history. When I see those things, I kind of geek out with that stuff. I love it.
I mean, yeah, it's easy to geek out with them because, I mean, this is natural science and everything, and even things that aren't even from this earth. Like another thing that couples in with all of this collecting, like meteorites, right? Like meteorites can get, they're actually, I believe, by weight, are the most expensive item on earth.
Is that right?
Some can be. I mean, some can be. So, oftentimes we'll come across, more than likely, you have come across a meteorite at some point in time. There might not be valuable, but like some super rare, really, really dense items that just do not seem natural. Always question it. Be inquisitive.
It depends on what kind of rare metals are in there.
Well, yeah, and it definitely does, but it's not even what it's made of and how dense it is in the make of it. But some meteorites are really, I guess, valuable. But there's a lot of meteorites that rain down on Earth and have rained down on Earth. So there's a lot in the ground or somewhere. So keep your eye out for really, really dense, odd shaped, weird items. And it's always good to check into it.
It's the rock that doesn't look like it should be a rock.
Right. It's a rock, definitely a rock, but hold on, this is not a rock. And why is it shaped
the most
this way?
expensive? Here we go. I just had to look at it. I had to fact check.
Okay, what is
per gram.
Per gram, by weight.
Man.
By weight.
These things, a lunar meteorite is $857 per gram.
See? That's what I'm saying, dude. So by weight.
Hello, man. And that's just that really deep black looking meteorite, that lunar meteorite.
Yeah, so that's one of them. That's right.
It's hard to really tell. Like, I honestly would know if I was kicking up a meteorite or just another piece of gravel.
That's right. But most people won't.
It's one of those really unique looking things that if it looks a little out of place, that is probably not a rock.
That's right.
Yeah.
So super cool stuff.
Very cool.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But that's awesome. And I know today is going to be kind of a short podcast, but I think that was, love that we caught odd things here. Want to see some more odd things as we kind of walk along. We're going to get back into some more football collectibles as we start to work our way through preseason stuff.
Yep.
The trades and see what's happening and what's shaking. We should have some more updates with basketball and NHL on the next one.
Well,
we'll know for sure who.
NHL is pretty much going to be updated. We got 4 minutes left, and it's 5-0. So
that's pretty updated, huh?
So I mean, that's a pretty fair
back.
That's a pretty
Way
fair.
to go, Panthers. Yeah. Gosh darn it.
I mean, you can kind of count this one. It's 5-0.
Next year, the Hurricanes, baby.
Canes.
We've got to do it. Canes. But we're going to be getting into the baseball now as baseball gets in full swing.
Ha 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 ha. I get it.
See what I did there?
I see what you did there.
And then we also have a little bit of golf going on and some tennis, actually.
Yay.
I've been following a little bit of that.
Have you?
I know. Hey, don't you put your nose up at that. That's
I mean, if you're into that, that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, speaking of golf, just real funny. Have you watched any of the Open or anything?
Nope. I think personally, man, I mean, to all you watching it, fine, that's cool, everything like that. I just can't get into it.
You can't get into it.
Nah, now if they started where like the caddy can make like a bullhorn sound to the opposite like players, or I don't even know how it works, but if they can have full contact or something like that, by all means, I'll watch it. I liked it when Payne Stewart played. How about that?
Did you watch it when Payne Stewart played?
Yeah, dude. Remember when we did the whole Michelob Golf Classic? When we volunteered?
That's right. At football, we volunteered for the Classic.
That's right.
Does Dad still have that jacket?
I
wonder if he still has the crystal, the Michelob Classic, which doesn't even go through Kings Mill anymore.
No, it doesn't. It was the Michelob Ultra Classic for the women's tour, but I don't know if they do that anymore.
Yeah,
anyway,
no doubt. Well, I just bring up golf because it was pretty funny because freaking Rory McIlroy, he was playing. I don't know if you've even seen a clip on this, but he got mad at one of his hits and he threw his club down and it hit right perfect to boomerang back and he caught it. It just looked like he meant to do it. It was so slick, but he threw it down and it bounced and it came back and he caught it. That was pretty funny.
And that would be the highlight on ESPN for golf. And that's why I don't watch it. That would be
my best shot ever.
That's why I don't watch it. That's an ESPN highlight.
I know. I get it. It's better to be. Oh, I like playing it. I suck at golf, but I love playing it.
I'll play it any day. I just can't watch it. But I can't wait to get into baseball. I know, like at the beginning of the season, baseball's slow, hard to get into, but we're cracking down midway through the season, coming up. As a Twin fan.
The Twins. Go Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean Minnesota's doing all right. They're third in their division, but
all right. Right on.
Yeah. It's right in the middle.
Well, good.
We'll see. We'll see how it pans
until next time then.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week.
Oh, hey, what are we going to cover next week? Right?
What are we going to cover next week? I just said what we were going to cover.
What?
We're going to go into a little bit more of the Magic as it starts to pan out, but I also want to circle back on football. I want to get back into the football trading cards, see where some things are playing out. It's off season.
Okay, fine. We'll do the art after that. How about that? Can we do the art after that, please?
We'll do the art following that one.
Yay.
I promise.
Okay. And then we'll also, coming down the roads to come, I do want to throw out that little feelers also for the original NES and the game collecting systems.
That's right.
So those are to come. So artwork,
those are to come, and we're going to get a few. I'm working on some different interviews that I'd like to get some people, some insight, from some people that collect different things. Whether it's watches, whether it's hats, whether it's what have you. I'm going to see about getting a few interviews lined up.
Love it.
Some more to come.
More to come.
Awesome. Well, until next time, welcome and have a good weekend.
All right, me. Later.